Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Preschool AllStars podcast. I'm Bethany Johnson, and I'm joined today by Lakisha Tibbs. How are you doing today, Lakisha?
I am awesome. How are you?
Doing fantastic and excited to get to talk to you and hear your story. I want to get a little background first of what was going on in your life before you decided to start your own preschool.
So I own a home daycare, and I've
Okay.
owned and operated my home daycare since 2013. I'm open till midnight every
Whoa,
day.
woo.
So I open 6 a.m. to midnight Monday through Friday,
What?
7
Just
a.m. to
you?
midnight Saturdays and Sundays.
Just you?
Well, my aunt helps me now, but prior to that, it's been just me, and off and on, I will hire staff from time to time to help out, depending on what we're doing and the type of kids that we have, because I do enroll children with special needs, and then I have kids of my own as well.
Oh my gosh, girl. When do you sleep? When do you sleep?
What's that? Sleep?
Okay, so what made you want to start a preschool instead of the daycare?
So I still have my daycare, and I wanted to do a preschool for a different reason, probably more different than any other all-star. As a home daycare, working with children with mixed ages and knowing how important it is for academics for kids, and knowing what that struggle is like in a home daycare environment, I wanted to bring something to other home daycare providers so that they are not experiencing that, the frustration and the feeling of defeat that, we have infants and we have kids that are 2 and 3, and then we have our 4-year-olds that are getting ready to go off to kindergarten, and trying to teach them while you have infants and 2 and 3-year-olds, creating a curriculum and all of that can be challenging. But I was able to master it in a lot of ways, and I wanted to be able to share that with other programs, because what I have seen is that there's a lack of quality in a lot of programs now, and I want to be able to bring that back into the programs. There's
Ooh.
so much paperwork that we do on the back end that sometimes we are not given that opportunity to be at our best with our programs. And so I wanted to put something out there that daycares and parents can tap into to help with their kids and their education, and not feel so distraught and overwhelmed and defeated.
I love that because I am on some daycare Facebook pages, and man, I feel like that's what they talk about the most, how they're burnout and defeated, and
Yep.
it's hard managing those ages, pretty much everything you just said.
Yep.
So, okay. So what are you doing to help all those daycare owners out? What's your program?
So we have our program is a virtual program. We also are working on our pre-recorded aspects of it. But right now we have virtual. It's on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings from 10:45 to 11:45. And the daycares actually can tap into it. And so they're utilizing it during a time that obviously is after their kids are dropped off, but before their lunchtime, to give the kids an hour. It's an hour session. And we are working with the kids. We're doing circle time, we're doing music and movement, we're focusing on letters, numbers, shapes. We have show and share time. We read stories with them. So there's a lot of engagement that goes on within that hour. But the benefit of my program is that there are so many add-on pieces that these daycare providers can utilize and build onto this curriculum. There's also add-on pieces that they can purchase within my program. So there's different levels of kits that they can purchase. And the VIP deluxe kit basically has everything in it. And so they don't have to go to the store. They don't have to purchase anything. They just pay for their virtual sessions, and they pay for their kits per child, and everything is there that they can build onto it throughout their week with the kids. And so if we're meeting with them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, then on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, there's activities that they can do with the kids in there as well.
Oh,
So, and
wow.
that's for our live sessions. We're working on our pre-recorded. Those will be 3 days a week with the same kind of options. And then we do have something that is different. And this one is geared towards, obviously, it's all geared towards providers, but also to parents. And that is our Preschool Pals, which is different than a lot of other Preschool Pals. So our Preschool Pals meets one night a week on Wednesday evenings. And when we meet, we invite the parents to be a part of it. We invite the providers to be a part of it. And so we assign homework for that night so that everyone knows what to bring to class that evening. And it could be something as simple as find something in your house that begins with the letter R, or bring your favorite story, or draw a picture, or, something like that that they bring to class that night. And when we meet virtually, we go over the homework. Each child has the opportunity to share and talk about what they did and why they chose whatever it was. But then we also, in the last 10 minutes of it, we open it up for Q&A for parents to be able to ask questions and get insight on, one, what is it really like to be teaching kids? And, they get to experience that, but they also get to ask questions that they may not feel comfortable asking other people. And so it helps to build a community of parents that are supporting each other as well, instead of parents that are constantly badgering each other about whatever choices we make as parents. Because it's hard being a provider, but it's also hard being a parent. And so I think that both of those things need to be supported. And if we can support our parents and our providers, then it helps bridge that gap. And so then the kids win every time. And that's what our goal is with our programs.
Wow. That's really cool. What platform do you use? Is it Zoom?
I'm using Zoom right now.
Okay.
So I'm playing around with StreamYard a little. I don't know a whole lot about it yet. So I'm still dibbling and dabbling in that. So right now, just Zoom.
Okay. So you joined AllStars to start an online preschool program, but geared more towards daycares, not just individuals.
Yep. And so we do have some individuals that are signed up with our program as well. So we do have parents that work at home and parents that stay at home that are signed up with our program. And then we have a couple home daycares, and then we have some centers that are signed up as well.
Oh, super cool. How do you get the word out to the big centers and daycares?
So we are still working on a lot of that now, but so far, basically I've just been sharing on my Facebook, and I'm in the Child Care Association for the state that I'm in, which is Maryland. And I know a lot of providers in the area. And so I've just kind of reached out and let them know what I was doing. And then I have a child care coach also that I've been following for a couple of years. And so she's also helped to facilitate a lot of that as well.
Super cool. Okay. So you do it live Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you do it, with all the kids that you have there. Are you're teaching them and you're recording it? Is that how it's working?
Yes, ma'am. So typically we have 6 to 8 kids in care on the day when we do our live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. All our parents are aware of it. They're super excited. They are also given a link that they can hop in. My only request for our parents are that they keep their cameras off and their mics muted. Sorry. So that the kids don't see them, and it be a whole different type of show. So they hop on and they get to hear it, and that helps us, form that gap with our parents. But so our kids are live, they're here in person, and then we have other families that join us virtually as well. And so we are doing our teaching for our children that are in care as well as other families. And because we're doing it in my home daycare, which is mixed ages, our youngest child in here is 4 months old. And our oldest child in my program right now is 4 years old. And so, obviously our infant is, in an infant seat or somewhere safe playing, and she enjoys the music and the singing and stuff. And all of our other children that are ages 1 and up are at the table when we do our activities or on the carpet. And so we do our circle time and our learning. And then we have time it's called our table time. And so all the providers are sent out a message the night before of what our lesson is for the next day, what our table time activities are, and an email of whatever it is that we're doing, or they already have a kit that they have access to everything that we're doing. And so when we're doing our table time activities, they already know what we're doing. Like last week, we built trains and we did igloos at the table using marshmallows in different shapes. And so everyone already knew what we were doing. We also made trail mix. And so everyone knew what we were doing, and everyone made their own trail mix. We've made muffins live in person with our kids here, and other families and daycares have done it virtually as well. And so it's really cool. And you can see that excitement light back up in the providers, that they don't feel so overtaken by it all. They're back excited about doing what they, first embarked on doing, which is a great feeling. And I don't do it on my own. My aunt is here with me, and typically working the cameras and moving things around. And both of us together are correcting the kids and helping out, with the kids and everything. My aunt has a beautiful voice. She loves to sing. She makes up songs and stories all the time. And so she typically takes the lead with all of that. She does the stories and the singing and all of that stuff. And so it's just fun. The kids are really engaged and we just have an awesome time. We haven't had any issues where kids are leaving the camera and things like that. They typically are sitting there and they're watching and they're engaged in the whole thing.
Wow. That's such a cool idea. And, not only is it helping your business, but then it's also helping their business because they can market that they offer this extra thing. It's taking that load off their back for that whole time. That's all around an awesome idea. It's something that I haven't heard of at all before. I mean, I don't really know many, I don't know if that's a thing, like a subscription thing that people are starting to do. I don't know. How did you get that idea?
Because I am a childcare provider and I know what those stresses were. Yeah. And I homeschool my kids. And so I knew I've been homeschooling for 5.5 years, my own children. And so that struggle of knowing how important academics are and the struggle of wanting to make sure that every kid in your program gets what they need. And the reality that the more the state puts more paperwork on us and all these things, it makes it harder and harder. And so it was something that I wish that I had when I first started years ago. And I was like, man, I wish I had a program where I could just do this and, and everybody was doing what they needed. And luckily for me, I was able to, bring staff in or kind of figure things out on my end so that everybody benefited from being in the program. But it definitely is something that is needed in a lot of programs. And I think that it's really helpful. And then for parents who, with COVID and everything, are not wanting to put their kids in a program, just that whole, and with any, virtual thing for children, just that ability for them to socialize is so amazing. Like to see the kids' faces light up when we say their name, or at the end of our session, our kids that are in person get to come to the camera and say bye. And they're remembering the names of all the students. And we have between 20 and 25 students in these sessions at a time because we have several, different daycares. And they're remembering the names and they're just so excited. And when we do, we show the kids names. They each have a name on a card and we go over the letters and whose name starts with this and, all of that. And they're learning all of that and they're just so excited and they go home and they've made friends. And then our kids that are virtual, that aren't going to school, that are home, they're like, oh, I have school tomorrow and I get to see my friends again. And so they're so excited about it.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's awesome. Are most of them local to your area, or do you have schools all over the country?
So we have some schools here in Maryland. We have some in North Carolina. We have some in Alabama. We have some in South Carolina, and we have some in Tennessee.
Awesome. And how much is your program?
So it is $100 per child for the month. So the providers have that option of passing that on to the parents or doing it on their own. And so it's $100 a month for them. And then they also have their kits that they get. And so they purchase a kit, and with that kit, they can purchase the monthly worksheets and things like that. And so there's different levels of the kits. There's a basic kit that just has, a couple things in it that they would need, like their the laminated sheets that the kids would use and different things like that. And then there's a next step up kit that has a little more. And then there's a deluxe kit that literally has everything from the pencils, the tweezers, the pom-poms, laminated sheets, personalized worksheets for the kids. Just they get a t-shirt. So everything is in that kit for them. They don't have to go and buy anything, not paper, not a glue stick, nothing. Everything's in that kit.
So, I mean, you're doing that stuff with your daycare kids anyway. And so you're kind of creating the passive income just by setting up a camera and then creating the kits, which you take the stuff you're already using, the lessons you're already using, and you put it in a kit, and then you teach that lesson to all the other people. So you're doing that stuff anyway. You just found a way to make more money doing it, reach more kids, reach more families.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. I
Mhm.
always say the AllStars, there's so many creative ladies who are doing so many different things that are just thinking outside the box. That's like the biggest thing with the AllStars is that they're all so adaptable and they all think outside the box.
Absolutely.
When something happens, like a global pandemic, they're like, all right, we're gonna figure out how to teach online. When
Yep.
like it's so cool. It's so cool to see
Yeah.
everyone's different version of it, adapting in so many different ways. How has it enhanced your program as a whole? Not just, making more money through that, but how has it enhanced your entire program?
Well, I think that it stands out because of what we're doing. And so the I guess for the parents, it's a added comfort that they can click on at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, that they can click on at any time to kind of see, what their kids are doing during those sessions. And then it opens up their communication with their kids at home because the kids are like, oh, well, I had this friend today and they live in Tennessee. And do you know it rained in Tennessee today and things like that? And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So now our kids are understanding that there's other places other than just Maryland. And,
Right.
you know, so I think that it's helped. And then it's also opened up the opportunity because I take children with special needs. And when we do our virtual, we do have children here that are, on the spectrum as well, that and other providers are able to see how we engage with our children, how we correct them, how we encourage them in
Mm,
ways where we're not frustrated with them. And we guide them and we expect them to do certain things, but we're so just attentive to whatever their needs are, and we're absolutely okay with meeting them at whatever level they're at. And so the fact that within my program we have kids that are at the table that are 1 and up, and they're seeing that, okay, here's one lesson that this lady has modified
mm.
into everything for all of these children to do. This is something we can do in our program, and this is helpful. And we don't have to just have our 1-year-old sit and color. They can recognize letters and numbers and colors and shapes, and they can do the same things that the 4-year-olds do, but just chop down to a level that they can reach. But just meeting the kids where they're at and being comfortable doing that. And so parents, they just really appreciate that within the program, as well as parents in other programs. And some of the feedback from some other providers about the quality of what it's doing to their programs and how it's helping them, and the comfort for their staff that, okay, we have a program that her curriculum is already written and everything that she's teaching is this and this, so now we just need to tailor this and do this, and it's done. And so it just takes away the stress on all ends. And my biggest goal, like I said before, was that I want our kids to win,
Mm.
and this is definitely gonna help that.
Yeah. And it's so cool that not only are you teaching your kids and you're teaching all these other kids, but you're teaching the other providers how, like you said, how to differentiate with different levels and how to meet each kid at their level and how to deal with kids who are on the spectrum and that they might be having problems with, see how you deal with them and how you can, that's like an invaluable thing to have, that you have this person who's experienced, has all these things together, and they're coming into your business, and it's almost like just by watching you're making them better teachers. So there's
Absolutely.
so many different aspects to this that's benefiting so many different people, from your business and their teaching skills and their students, and then the families at home, and then the
Yep.
parents get to see, like, there's so many people involved, so many moving parts, and it's helping so many people. That's really
It is.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about, where it's going to go, because in addition to our virtual, I've been doing virtual tutoring for, a couple years now. And so that's something that during the summer was really needed for the kids that were school age. And so we did academic enrichment over the summer for those kids, and that, helped them out, which for me made it a little bit more comfortable for me to go this route, because when we did our academic enrichment, I have a second location. So I have my home daycare, but I also have an enrichment center.
Mm.
And at my enrichment center, we're kind of revamping it. It was a huge summer camp. We had like 20 to 25 kids in the summer at that location. And so now revamping the whole thing. And it has, we'll have coding and robotics. We have a drama club, an art club,
Ah,
virtual
I love it.
tutoring. We have a fine arts preschool that we're getting ready to launch at that location in December. So that'll be in person at that location. So I'm super excited about, being able to do that. But during the summer, when we did our academic enrichment virtual sessions, it was during summer camp. And so there was a 2-hour time period during summer camp where the kids had to sit and read and practice different skills and stuff. And then we would connect virtually, and I would either be at that location in a separate room, because we also had kids in Arizona and in North Carolina and a bunch of other states that connected with us as well. And so it was easier for me to be in a separate room versus in the same room with the kids. But we had kids at that, in that summer camp, that we had an area designated for them for virtual learning, and they would connect with me. And then we had iPads and computers set up in there for them and their headphones, so that every kid in there was on the same screen with me on their own device within my program to do their virtual stuff. And so just doing that gave me the comfort to know that, okay, we can totally do this with our preschoolers, and we can have kids here when we do it. And I don't know of many programs that are doing virtual live that actually have kids in person
Yeah.
with them. And so it was, I didn't have anything to go by, and I just was like, you know what, we got this. We can totally do this. And so, and we did it in our first session. We had kids crying, other providers had kids crying, and a lot of them kept muting. And so then when we were talking to the kids, we couldn't hear them. And I know a lot of other providers, when they do their virtual, they like the kids to stay muted. Well, I mean, clearly based on our whole interview, you can tell we do things way different. And so we encourage our providers and our parents to not mute, put them in an area. Obviously, we don't want to hear any adult conversations, but we want them to be comfortable and to be able to talk. And kids cry. That's that's life. And it's perfectly okay. And, for other daycares to see some of our kids in our program that may be tantruming and screaming, and to see how we interact with that, like, those are so important for them to see. And that's not something that you can get out of a book.
Right.
And so it's important to be comfortable with that. And my parents, they sign waivers, and they're comfortable with it. And they know that there is no judgment, that everything is a learning process, that, we learn so much from our kids, just like they learn so much from us. And it's a give and take. But yeah, doing that tutoring over the summer definitely helped me to be more comfortable with doing the virtual with other kids here. Otherwise, we would have just done everything pre-recorded.
Right.
So, and then I'm blessed that, my aunt came here to help me. Like, I had a vision. I kind of planned it out halfway, not all the way, but, and I told her about it, and my aunt quit her job and came here to help me. And she was like, I believe in you, and we can do this. And so that, to me, definitely, having that support of her is definitely one of the major things that is pushing me through to be able to do it. Because I wouldn't have been able to do it if it was just me in here like this.
I mean, I was going to ask, are there like 10 of you? Because
it's just 2 of us.
How are you running your at-home daycare, like however many hours a day? And then you also have that learning center. Who's running that? How do you keep that?
We had over the summer, we had like about 5 or 6 staff members that ran that learning center location. Right now, I just got my LLC for that location, because I didn't have an LLC before. I didn't know much about it. So those are things that I learned going through Joy's program. I didn't know how important it was to have something like that. And so it was a sole proprietor in a building, which is a huge danger. And I didn't know that. So going through, I got my LLC. It's registered with the state of Maryland now. And so we've done everything. It's registered as an enrichment center, because it's not technically a daycare. Because the preschool hours for my fine arts preschool is not over what the, I guess, the restricted hours are for the state of Maryland. It doesn't have to be registered as daycare, because it's only they have an option for a 2 or 3 day program, and it's only 2 hours. So it's way under what the state requires. And then all the other services are add-on services at increments of 90 minutes. So they can do drama club, they can do the art club, there's coding, there's robotics, they can come in for 90-minute tutoring sessions. And so all these are just things that they will purchase. And then we know, okay, we have these kids for these days and things like that. So it's easier to staff rather than have staff there around the clock, because it's not that type of program. It definitely is an enrichment center to be able to enrich the lives of the children and to be able to, help their parents out with some of the things they may be struggling with. So,
wow, that's so cool. So you have, when you talk about all the different like robotics and all that, are those like classes that you have a teacher come in and there's a certain amount of kids that come for that hour or whatever and take that class?
so we will have, once we have it, because we don't have it up yet because we just changed the LLC and we had to pause everything to get all that restructured to be legal. Our goal is when we have it, we do have some teachers that will come in and do some of those things. And some of those things, they will actually, like, we have the computers and things. And so we've bought in different platforms like Tinker and code.org, where the way that I purchased the platform for the school, they will have their own virtual teacher to walk them through the coding. And then we have, with coding, there's plugged and there's unplugged. And so for the plug things, those are obviously things where they're going to be using, the computer and things like that. And so then for the unplugged, we have different areas set up within that center. It's like over 4,000 square feet for the building that we have. And so we have different areas set up in there for the coding, where there's robots and there's gears and there's different things where they are going to, build their own type of things in gears or whatever. I don't know what the proper words are for it, but we do have staff that are coming in to help out with some of those things. And then I homeschool my kids, and my kids take a lot of those classes as well. And so my kids are well versed with the coding and engineering and all of that stuff. And so that helps as well, that they can, because kids sometimes at that age, school agers, they respond better to, kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
How old are your kids?
So my oldest is 18 and my next one is 14, and then my youngest is 12.
Okay. And how is it going up to like 18? Is that center going at the learning center?
So that center is ages 3 to 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, what a cool place. I mean, you're seriously, you're just providing so many awesome things to people. Like, that's an awesome opportunity for older kids too, to go and take enrichment classes like that, because kids don't always get that stuff in school, and putting them in something like that, getting them interested in stuff like that is like,
it's so important.
So cool. Yeah.
And the reality is every kid is not going to be a sports player.
Yeah.
So we want to, respect whoever they are, however they are, and to be able to give them something and an opportunity. And just having a variety of things at that location, they definitely are going to find something that fits them versus being forced into something that they feel they need to fit into.
Yeah.
So, and all that builds that self-confidence and that just that respect and love that they will naturally have for themselves.
Yeah. And I mean, I just picture it being this big community, like kids going to are there times where kids can go and just like hang out, kind of like free times?
We talked about doing things where we would have like team nights where we would
have
nights where they come for about 3 or 4 hours, and we have no electronics, just all board games, like old school games. And we have pizza and drinks for them and snacks, and just have them come and hang out. We do virtual sip and paints at that location right now. We have one this Saturday. And so we do them in person and virtual. So those are for any age, and they come and we create the canvases. I make shirts on the side, like this shirt that I have on. So I design shirts and canvases and all kinds of other things on the side of all the rest of this stuff that I'm doing.
Make banners? Do you make banners?
No, but I have a vendor that does banners.
Okay, because I just got t-shirts made from someone in the AllStars, and I'm looking for banners, and I'm like, I would like to go to the AllStars for all my needs.
Right. So this is our shirt for our virtual. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah. That's awesome. The little owl.
Yeah, that's our logo. His name is Who. So he's our mascot.
Nice. What about like parent enrichment classes? Do you think you could offer those?
So I'm building something with that. I got an amazing offer with it's called the Parents Place of Maryland, which is a program for special needs families that they go to for services. And I was actually reaching out for resources for some of my families. And within that call, I was immediately, after talking to them, I was like, well, I have a family, we're looking for respite. And then she was like, do you provide respite? And I was like, no, but I am willing to take whatever trainings are needed to do it. so that I know that this child is okay when the family needs respite. And then she was like, okay, well, are you licensed? And I was like, yep. And she was like, that's all you need. So just within that call, I was able to be approved as a respite provider for the state of Maryland, which is awesome.
And what does that entail?
So as a respite provider, basically for families that have children with special needs, they are able to tap into a service that will pay for or fund for them to be able to have a break from their child, basically.
Okay.
Because
Oh,
it's
okay.
super overwhelming. And so they would drop their child off to the program for however many hours the state or whatever agency they've gone through has approved them for. So some families may get 4 hours, or some families may get 18 hours a month or something like that. And then they just utilize them in increments to be able to take their older children to a playground or something that would be too overstimulating for, some other children, or
Right.
to, take their daughter to a ballet lesson that the other child is obviously not going to sit for, or a karate lesson, or whatever things that they may need to do. It helps to pay for some of those services. And so I was
Wow.
honored to be accepted. So now I'm doing the paperwork to be approved by the military, because we're in Maryland. I'm surrounded by a lot of different bases, and I have a lot of clientele that's police officers and military and things of that nature. So now I'm trying to lock in a contract with the military to be able to provide respite for them, because their respite is different. It's not necessarily for special needs children. It's for spouses that, when their husbands deploy and they are just overwhelmed with having their kids 24/7 all the time,
Right.
without that additional support. So their respite is different. And so I'm wanting to, provide that service because I'm open all the time already. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not like it's an inconvenience for me. And the more kids that we can help and support, the less the numbers will be for children that are being abused and neglected and that are running through CPS cases. And so if we can help out, then, I'm all for it with that. But I also got the opportunity to try and create some type of platform. And I spoke to Joy about it a couple of days ago. I was speaking to her about it. So I got the opportunity, and I basically probably have about 2 weeks to make it happen, to create a platform that is a support group for parents that we would meet one evening a week and be able to ask and answer whatever questions they may have in regards to their children. But they want it to be focused more on the special needs community, and they're wanting it to be something that is possibly beneficial for, well, I would want it to be beneficial for the parent and the child. And so talking to Joy, we were kind of, brainstorming kind of what that would look like. I would like to do sessions where we are teaching a lesson or an activity with the children, but then also doing an activity that has parents in it, and, putting them in breakout rooms to do different lessons and things like that, and then bring them back and we can all talk about what it was that they learned or experienced and things like that, just to kind of open their eyes a lot. My whole focus with the special needs, my 14-year-old is autistic, and she's high functioning autistic. And I battled with the school system for a really long time to get services for her that I never got. And I gave up on the school system, which is why I've been homeschooling for 5.5 years, because
Right.
I was that provider that felt defeated when it came to running my program and doing what's good for my kids, and knowing that the reality of me going out there and beating the clock, getting a job, was not going to work for my family, because it's just me. I'm not married. I'm not engaged. It's me. My aunt has graciously come to help me to run our programs. But prior to that, it's been me and my three. My
Yeah.
oldest is 18 and she's graduated and in her first year of college. And so she's doing awesome. But I still have two more that I need to make sure that I do all that I can. And while I know, I'm kind of like an octopus most days, because we're everywhere, I know that at the end of the day, everything that I'm doing, I'm teaching my kids so many different things. Like, my kids will understand, no matter what, how you can create an income with literally nothing at all.
Mm.
They'll know how to create a business. They know how to just accept people for what all their differences and everything. They know how to be respectful and compassionate. And then they also know their academic stuff. And those are not things that are being taught in schools anymore. Kids in schools are just learning academics. Well,
Yeah.
half, they're barely learning that nowadays. So, but it's so important. And I'm really honored to be able to have done all the things that I've done and to be able to do all the things that I'm doing. One of my families that's on my virtual is my aunt. I was raised in my other aunt in North Carolina. I was raised in her daycare. And she has a home daycare, a 24-hour daycare. And so it's in our blood.
In the blood. Wow.
Yeah, so.
Wow. Yeah, you're just pretty much amazing. So I'll just put
You.
that out there. Everything you're doing is amazing. I mean, it's so much. I seriously don't know how one person is making all of this happen. It's like crazy, but it's like that. These are some amazing things that you're putting together. And I could tell you're the kind of person who thinks up an idea and just runs with it. Obviously, you've ran with all these ideas, and I'm sure the ideas will just keep coming. Yep. And I mean, I'm excited to see where this whole thing ends up. We will definitely have to do an update episode with you, because I feel like in 9 months you'll be like, oh, actually, I have 17 more companies and I haven't slept in 7 years, but that's okay.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah. I wanted to show, I know our time is probably almost up, but I wanted to show just a couple things really quick that things that we do within some things that are in our kit as well.
Yeah.
So this is something, and I know my lighting in here is probably really sucky.
No, I got, yep, right there. Perfect.
So these are things that this helps our parents and our kids and our teachers, because this is letter sounds. And so it helps, sometimes as parents, we don't always know, we know X, but we don't always know that actually when you're teaching a kid, you're going to teach them the K sound and the S sound together to make that sound. And then you give them words.
Awareness component for it. Yeah,
exactly. And so that's something that helps them. These are our laminated sheets that go home in a lot of our kits that we send out. And so we have those. We have our schedule for them. This one is something that is so important because our goal is self-esteem. And so we want to know how they visualize themselves and things like that. And then just that skill overall, it just builds, and you can see, oh, look, they put eyes up there. Oh, they have hands today. Oh, they know they have feet. And so it's exciting to kind of see that growth with them. And so we have them do things like that often. And then I do make a lot of my own worksheets and stuff as well. And so we have a lot of those that we put in there.
Do you sell those like on Teacher Pay Teachers?
I do not have a Teacher Pay Teacher account. I probably should look into it.
Because that's some passive income. If you're making your own stuff, put it on Teacher Pay Teacher and get money, get paid for it.
Yeah, I may have to do that. I've been writing my curriculum for as long as I've had my daycare. And then my kids, I homeschool, I write their curriculums. And they are 7th grade and 9th grade this year. So
yeah, definitely put it on Teacher Pay Teacher. If it's already made, why not make some more money from it?
Yeah. So, and then we do things like this. Like this one is a kit that needs to go out. So we have, number things, and then they have their apples that they count. And so everything that we're doing, our goal is everything that we have here. If they purchase the VIP kit, they have everything there as well. So literally our flashcards, our Play-Doh, our bubbles, our scissors, our tweezers, our markers, our highlighters, everything, our circle time props, everything that we have, our little counters, our little pom-poms, everything that we have, we send it all to them in that kit, so that when we say, okay, friends, we're gonna read a book today, get your book that we're reading, they have everything. When we do our muffins, they have the muffin mix, they have everything. And it just makes it so convenient for our parents who don't want to go out and for our providers who don't have the time. So I'm hoping that it continues to help, other programs. I'm just super excited about what it's done for other programs, and just that excitement, and just hoping that it changes things, because I don't watch the news as much, but at some point we've all watched the news and we've seen all the horror stories of things that have gone on in programs and daycares and things like that. And I don't know what that's like on a personal experience, because I just don't live that kind of life. But I have to imagine that there has to be a level of just disparity and frustration that comes from those providers to get them to that level to be so hurtful to kids. And so my goal is, even with our parents' night out sessions and our virtual and all the things that we do, our goal is to be able to reach more families, teach more children, and save kids at the same time. Like, we don't want those numbers to go up. And I know for us in our trainings during COVID, the numbers have just like skyrocketed. And that's a sad and scary
Of
thing.
abuse, numbers of abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I heard that as well. Have you
Yeah.
thought about like a mentorship program, like you being the mentor to daycare providers?
I have not. I've never even thought of that. I have no idea what that would look like, but
I mean, think about it, because not to add
yeah.
one more thing to your plate, but
Right.
I mean, you got a lot of knowledge and you got a lot of stuff to share, and you're sharing it through your videos and your program right now. But just like we have Joy to help us, start our preschools, you could do some sort of mentorship program for daycares, whether it's behavior stuff that they're struggling with, or I mean, however you see fit. Obviously you have a heart for that. So just saying, could add that to the repertoire of 35 other things.
What's one more, right?
What's one more? Well, thank you so much for telling me your story. I mean, this is really awesome. Everything you're doing is so awesome, and you're amazing. And
thank you so much.
I hope you do work in some you time, because that's important too.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. Definitely work in some you time. That's something we've been talking about on this podcast a lot lately, is finding the work-life balance, which, I mean, I don't know how you could possibly do that, but you got to take care of yourself too. You're taking care of everybody. Make sure you take care of yourself a little bit too.
Yep. I've been working on that as well. I have a personal trainer that I've been working with. And then I have a friend that does poetry. So I'm getting geared up to be able to go to that poetry show and support him. I'm super excited about that.
Nice.
So,
awesome.
Yeah, and I'll have to share some of that information in the group. I'm really bad about posting and sharing. I don't do it often. I go up there and I read things, and then I'm just quiet and I
know. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to be as active as we want, but yeah, we love and share it all. We love hearing it. And you have a lot of stuff you have a lot of cool stuff to share. You do.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. I was super nervous. I'm not really sure why, but I was.
Everyone tells me that. I'm like, we're just going to have a conversation. We don't got to be nervous. I hope I was able to ease your nerves a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Good.
definitely. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. And I can't wait to follow the rest of your journey, see where you end up.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
If you'd like to have a success story just like that one, I invite you to join our Preschool AllStars. It's my exclusive membership community where you'll get mentorship from me with weekly Q&A lives, support and guidance, and friendship from hundreds of women on the exact same journey as you, starting, running, and growing their preschools, and my exclusive access to Preschool University, every training and done-for-you file that you'll need for every milestone on your journey to help you start, run, and grow your preschool. We've all been there, and we've got the exact same steps that you need to go through, but we do it all very quickly so that you don't have to waste time or money doing the wrong things at the wrong time. We'd love for you to join our Preschool AllStars membership. Just go to preschoolallstars.com or click the link in the description to immediately jump into Preschool AllStars. Again, go to preschoolallstars.com and we'll see you there.